Next on Wildlife Emergency.
He's not using those at all.
A chipmunk and a baby bunny viciously wounded by a deadly predator.
Okay, I think he's ready. Turn off the gas.
Open your mouth.
An operation on a wounded garter snake.
Take a look at the stump on her left.
And a critically injured mama possum with 11 babies in her care.
She's a good possum. Take him on into radiology.
We got a problem here.
Right.
We have the opportunity to give these animals a second chance.
But he's a little one.
He's a very small one.
Nice, strong heartbeat.
Oh, he's very handsome. With wildlife, humans are a big part of the problem, and I just want to try to be part of the solution.
You need to turn her up a lot more.
You not only need to read the mind of your coworkers, you need to read the mind of your patient.
About 5 minutes to go before we hit 3 hours.
To save a wild animal's life and get it back into the wild, that's what it's all about.
At the Wildlife Center of Virginia, doctors confront all kinds of emergencies. But some days, it seems the most severely injured patients have one predator in common, an ordinary household pet.
Another cat attack.
Another cat attack.
The history is that it's a cat attack.
Cat got him pretty good.
We had a birdhouse, and the cat got on top.
It seemed like all the cats in the county were being very bad today. We saw 3 or 4 cat-attacked bunnies and a cat-attacked chipmunk, all in just a couple of hours' time.
Yeah, since he was a definite cat attack, even though...
As Dr. Tracy examines this little chipmunk crushed by a cat's mouth, she suspects severe internal injuries.
It's a good possibility that the cat grabbed him kind of mid-body and just put a lot of pressure on the spinal cord.
Its hind legs are useless, and Dr. Tracy hopes the damage isn't permanent.
Check and see if he's got any conscious pain.
You'd think of a chipmunk as being much faster than a cat. This chipmunk may have made a fatal mistake. It may have been a very stealthy young cat. All right, little rabbit.
Come on, little rabbit.
This baby bunny, another cat attack victim, was seized at the back of his neck and seriously wounded.
People don't realize how dangerous cats can be to little wild animals. They don't think about it. They think, oh, the cat wants to go outside, the kids go outside and play, I go outside and play.
It was a really quick incident, and thank goodness we did catch him before he did kill the bunny. And now we know to put a collar on and what times not to let him out.
The cat had lacerated the little bunny right behind his neck, and there was a serious risk of infection. So Dr. Ned decided to clean the wound and suture it closed.
We'll see if we can't sew them back together.
Though Dr. Ned struggles to repair the deep wound, it may already be too late.
So teenage cat out cruising for teenage rabbits?
Teenage cat out cruising for teenage rabbits. It's a bad scene.
Cats are just born to be predators. Wild cats, the lions, tigers, leopards, bobcats, cheetahs, those cats have to kill to make their living. And the domestic cat is simply a domesticated descendant of those.
Hi, you got little birds? Sure do.
Next, Sarah admits a nest of orphaned baby bluebirds. These babies were attacked by a house cat that had already made their mother and father its prey. Rescuer Teresa Kofelt was able to save the nest of bluebirds discovered in her barn. But as for the parents, little remained.
The cat was sitting up on top of the box. I called her in, and then I put her in a house, and then I went out, and feathers everywhere.
They're very hungry.
Yes, they're extremely hungry. She had fed them right before she left home, which was 45 minutes ago.
Which means they're hungry again.
Which means they're hungry again.
For each of these cat attack victims, the next 24 hours will be critical.
All right, another garter snake.
At the center, patients continue to arrive in all shapes, sizes, and slithers. Like the ancient story, this snake made its way into a garden, but the woman it met wasn't Eve. She was Eleanor.
I was out in the garden hoeing and removing all the weeds, pitchforking them out into a pile, and my dog Matt came along and picked something up out of the pile. I told him to put it down, went over to look, and I found that it was a snake of which I am not terribly fond.
Eleanor is one of our best volunteers. She's been coming here a long time, and she's as sweet as the day is long, and she felt awful when she rushed the snake in here. And the good news was it wasn't a life-threatening injury necessarily, but he did need medical attention.
I felt responsible. I said, oh, look what I did to this poor animal, you know. So I felt guilty for having chopped it. What can you say? It happens.
As with any patient, surgery involves anesthesia, which here is tailored to the snake's physiology.
You can't hold a mask on an animal's face to make them breathe the gas you want. You just surround the animal in the gas, and they have no choice but to breathe. And in the case of a snake, because of the shape, a cylindrical induction chamber works just fine.
But he doesn't succumb without registering a protest before he falls asleep.
He's mad. He is very mad.
Like a cat switching its tail.
Exactly. They do remind me of cats when they switch their tails when they're mad. He's getting a little
slowing down.
Okay, I think he's ready. Turn off the gas. And we're going to pull our snake out.
I'll take this to his nose.
Next, the patient must say, ah.
Open your mouth. Open.
I'm afraid if I let go, it will...
No, I think you should tape it in place.
We'll tape that,
Tape it
yeah.
in place is a very good idea.
With Sarah serving as backup, veterinary student John inserts a tube to deliver the anesthetic directly.
Okay, where was the heart, John?
While locating a snake's heart isn't easy, John makes an educated guess.
Right there.
Okay, so that's right where we'll put our Doppler.
The snake's clearly got heart, and according to Dr. Ned, he's also got rhythm.
It's got a good beat. You can dance to it. I give it an 86.
As the surgery proceeds, Dr. Ned takes the opportunity to give his student John a pop quiz.
Reptile skin rolls in, so how do you think I should sew it to make that better?
With an everting pattern.
I'm going to use an everting pattern.
The reason this is important in reptiles is because their natural tendency is for the skin to invert. So in order to counteract these forces, we have to slightly evert the skin.
Okay. Is he turned off?
He's off.
Good.
He is.
Just oxygen.
As the surgery concludes, Dr. Ned is very pleased.
I mean, this is just like an ideal snake wound. It's going in the right direction. It's lateral. It's not ventral, so the snake's not going to crawl and dirty his own incision line. This snake has an excellent prognosis. With the rate of healing of a snake, if this was a mammal, you know, he might be out of here in a week. Since it's a snake, he'll be out here in a month.
In the examination room, Dr. Tracy hurries to provide critical care for a mother possum whose leg was lost in a freak accident.
We got a call last weekend from some people that saw an injured possum out on their patio, and they weren't quite certain what to do. They knew she had a broken leg. They could see that. The leg was very badly broken, very obviously broken.
I discovered that the poor girl was caught in this table with her forepaw jammed in here. Her little snout was jammed up here where she was chewing, trying to get out, and her hind leg was here and broken in two where she had tried to free herself. She was terrified, jammed as she was, and she had a pouch full of babies.
Traumatized by the accident, these 11 babies clung to their parent. And Dr. Tracy knew that to give them the best chance for survival, she must somehow save the mother.
They were still a little bit small to be away from her when she came in. So we did the procedure knowing that we would at least get those 11 babies released.
That judgment paid off, and the babies thrived under their mother's care.
At 131.
Wow, they really put on weight. They were in the 90-gram range when they came in just a week ago. It looks to be very healthy. It's got nice bright eyes, very active, very inquisitive as far as what's going on around it. So these are healthy babies. Mama's done a good job with all 11 of them.
Though Dr. Tracy is usually able to maintain a professional distance, with patients as cute as these, it isn't always easy.
You can't help it because even though you're a veterinarian, you're still a person, and so you respond to cute, fuzzy little things. But you do have to be careful because they're not kittens or puppies. You can't pet them and play with them and all that sort of stuff. They are wild animals. But you can kind of stand back at a distance and watch them and get a lot of enjoyment that way.
Though the babies are healthy and energetic, The mother, with only 3 legs, has an uncertain future.
Okay, so it's been 2 days since our surgery, so it's a good time to see.
After the garter snake is given time to convalesce from his surgery, Dr. Ned and John evaluate their patient.
So I just think that this surgical site looks pretty darn good for 2 days out. There's every indication that this should heal in wonderfully quick time.
Good.
All signs indicate a rapid recovery, but then the snake is weighed. It has unexpectedly lost weight, and Dr. Ned and John are concerned.
Let's consider force feeding the snake. Let's give him some fluids first.
We were worried that the snake wasn't eating on his own in the cage, so we felt that the best thing to do would be to encourage him to eat.
Even at this early stage of recovery, it is important for the patient to consume solid food, and so one of its favorite meals is presented.
Well, a good rule of thumb when feeding any snake is you shouldn't feed them any prey item that's wider than the body at the widest point. They can get their mouths around almost anything. Amazing how wide they can unhinge their jaws, and they can swallow very big things, but they can still get stuck behind the mouth.
Kind of a bummer to be lower on the food chain, eh?
It's probably what working on Wall Street is like. If you'll get his head again, so it doesn't bite me, and if you get it down at least towards where the heart is he's less likely to regurgitate. So, we'll leave it there.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll check him in the morning and see if he kept it down.
Okay.
It will take days for the snake to digest his hospital fare, and if all goes well, his next big meal will be eaten outdoors. Nearby, in a makeshift hospital room, the baby chipmunk struggles to survive the cat attack that paralyzed its legs. Dr. Tracy and John attempt to pinpoint the mysterious source of its injury.
There's nothing that's obviously out of place. I mean, you look at these films and you think this guy should be using his legs. He's one where we could try steroids and just giving him some time, giving him a couple days, and see if we get improvement.
Excellent.
And if not, then we can always put him down, but we'll give him a chance.
Meanwhile, the orphaned bluebirds are kept alive by rehabilitation manager Amanda, who provides feedings every 20 minutes. Despite the comprehensive care she is providing, Amanda knows that her attentions are no substitute for the birds' natural parents.
Humans don't do nearly as good a job feeding baby birds as the bird mothers do. At this point, they'd still be fully cared for by their parents, and their mother would still be roosting on them at night to keep them warm. There's a lot of things that we just simply cannot teach the bird, and a lot of things that they're missing out on by being here. And we do know the odds that we're up against, but it's not going to stop us from trying.
While the staff at the center can save their lives, these birds, deprived at a young age, may never learn the social skills critical for survival in the wild.
They'll be okay. They won't get the benefit of learning how to be a bluebird from their parents, but hopefully they will survive with someone feeding them constantly.
While the prospects for the baby bluebirds are good,
Sorry, chippers.
the chipmunk's condition continues to worsen despite all measures taken, and the staff faces a difficult decision.
It was noticed that the chipmunk was doing quite poorly. He was on his side, he was gasping for breath, and at that point the decision was made to euthanize him.
It's always a tough decision, even when the rational part of you knows that it has to be done. You're always sad and upset that you have to make that decision, even when it's in the animal's best interest.
Oh, it's an awful feeling. I mean, nobody went to veterinary school to learn to put animals to sleep.
In the intensive care unit, the other cat attack victim, the baby bunny, is attended by Sarah.
Yes, I've had better days.
A baby rabbit, or even a juvenile rabbit, can't withstand what the pet store mouse can. If everybody followed good cat husbandry, there would be a lot of healthy baby bunnies out there instead of lacerated baby bunnies like the ones we've seen today. You're my geezer cat. There's all sorts of terrible things that can happen to cats unattended outdoors. Cats can be taught to walk on a leash. I have a cat that walks on a leash. She would be a little killing machine if I let her loose. And we have rabbits and chipmunks and all sorts of birds that live around here that I like to keep living around here. I'm certainly a cat lover, but you know, I'm a cat person. To me, the pet to have is the cat. I've always had cats. I have made mistakes with cats. I have had cats that ran free. I have had cats that were hit by cars. And quite honestly, it broke my heart when I lost cats to traffic accidents. So over the years of being a cat person and a cat owner, I've learned a lot of valuable lessons. And one of them is that I truly prefer my cats as house cats. They seem to be healthier, they seem to be happier, and that makes me a happier cat lover.
Back at the center, Mama Possum, despite her terrible accident, has successfully nurtured her babies. And soon, all 11 will be able to survive on their own. Now the staff must determine if it is best to put her to sleep.
We need to decide what we're going to do with Mama Poss, if we're going to make her part of the education program, if maybe a soft release is a possibility, or if we're going to have to euthanize her.
I don't think release is a viable option.
All right.
And she's absolutely non-viable with 3 legs.
She seems to have a good disposition. She's not aggressive. She's never tried to bite. She's just a pretty mellow opossum. I think her disposition would make her a good education animal.
So the question is, can the education department use a 3-legged possum for programs? Oh, I'd certainly rather keep her here and keep her alive and use her than have to euthanize her.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
My biggest concern would be that she just can't move around as well as she should, and if she starts dragging that end, that we're going to leave ourselves open to a lot of different medical problems. I think she's really good for education. The fact that she did have all the babies, and we can talk about how she was able to stick around until they were able to be released.
We can give it a try and see if we end up having to euthanize her later because of some sort of problem. At least we know that we tried it.
Okay, Mama Poss.
Good. I'm glad that we'll be able to keep her, because she's been through a lot. She's a good possum.
The decision is reached. Mama Possum has won a place on the education team. And now it's time to move the increasingly independent youngsters into a more spacious home outdoors.
Oh, look. New house.
Their progress as they grow and develop will be monitored by rehabilitation manager Amanda.
We'll put them on a post-weaning diet for a week or 2 weeks, and then we'll come back and weigh them and check on their progress. We like to release them at about 500 grams, so most of these possums are about halfway there right now.
While these baby possums explore their new home, inside the center, new baby possums arrive. Their need for immediate care means a new and unexpected career for Mama Possum as a foster mom.
We are trying an experiment, surrogating some 3 new babies, smaller babies, with Mama Poss to see if she will take care of them and nurse them and raise them as well as she raised her own 11.
This approach is an experiment and a gamble. Special preparations are made to increase the chances that she will accept this foreign litter of babies into her pouch.
What you do is you make the baby smell like Vicks Vapor Rub, and then you rub the mother's nose with Vicks Vapor Rub, so that's all she smells for several hours at least. It's been well proven by biologists in the field who have used it with bear cubs that they were trying to surrogate onto another mother, that sort of thing. You're a good boss. There you go.
As the babies are placed inside Mama Possum's pouch, Sarah and Amanda watch closely to see if the new arrivals are reluctant or fearful, and check for any sign of protest by Mama Possum herself.
We'll give it at least a day or so before we can say ultimately that it is a success. Worst case scenario, the mother possum would reject them, kill them, eat them. Best case scenario, she will simply continue to lactate and raise them as her own.
The outcome of this experiment will be determined over the next few days. Mother Nature and Mama Possum will decide.
How's he doing? He's doing great. Ready to go.
Weeks after she brought the injured garter snake to the center, Eleanor arrives to take him home.
He's looking really good. We've had him now for about 4 weeks.
Caretaker Amanda provides final instructions for transport of the center's increasingly unruly patient.
Now, when you go to release this guy, you need to be really careful. He has been somewhat aggressive since he's been here. Here, booger. Come on.
As the transfer is beginning, the now healthy patient makes an early attempt at freedom.
Whoops, whoops, whoops. Not working, not working.
And now, with her cargo secure, Eleanor receives parting advice.
You don't want to take him back to exactly where you found him because he might run into another gardening utensil then, but if you take him back towards the pasture a little bit, I think he'll be fine.
Be fine?
Not close to the road, though.
Okay, will do. Okay, my little friend, I'm going to release you so you can catch some of those vermin that you're meant to catch.
For Eleanor, bringing the snake back home provides a sense of completion.
Well, I feel very strongly that there is a relationship between all living things. It's all part of the greater cycle of life.
And now, the time for release is at hand.
Very good.
The snake takes a moment to get oriented and then chooses its path to freedom, as Eleanor says goodbye.
Stay clear of farm implements, buddy. It's very fulfilling to release a wild animal. Instead of the 80 square inches he had in the tank, he'll have hundreds of acres to roam and get the right kind of food. He shares the property with me. There's plenty of it to share. And that's the way it should be.
And back in the garden, with weeding to be done, Eleanor will keep an eye out for her unexpected friend. Several days into the experiment with the foster babies, Dr. Tracy examines Mama Possum to see if she has accepted her new charges. The examination involves opening up the pouch and making a count.
1, 2, 3 tails, 3 little possums in there. Oh, you're a good mama. We've never tried anything like this before, and fortunately she accepted them readily, took them into her pouch, and took great care of them.
Okay. Thank you, Mama Possum.
As Mama Possum continues to nurture her 3 new babies, outdoors, 3 of her original litter have steadily grown and are now ready for release.
Looking good, buddy.
They have reached the requisite weight of 500 grams, and they are ready to go, but not before one final goodbye from their personal physician.
Oh my God, look at him.
Look at you guys,
You guys have gotten so big.
Are you going to miss him, Tracy?
Yeah, I am. But I'm glad they're going back out into the
Yeah,
wild.
The possums are returned to their birthplace and the home of their original rescuer, Dick Pearson, and his family, who select an ideal spot to say goodbye.
How about right here? Does this look good? Yeah. This looks like a real good spot, doesn't it? Okay. I think it's wonderful for the youngsters to see that the animals have their fair place. I grew up on a farm. My parents and grandparents hunted in the woods, and they still appreciated the wildlife. And I'd like to see my children and grandchildren grow up with those same feelings.
Can we help you just a little bit? I know, I know.
Making the big step to the great outdoors can require a helping hand.
That's just what you need. Oh, come on. You're a little scaredy cat, aren't you? Little scaredy possum.
But slowly, they begin to explore their new surroundings.
They look like little babies, but we saw one start right up that tree, and I presume it's his first tree. It didn't dawn him a bit.
And once they get started, there's no stopping them.
I think it's probably the same stomping grounds that Mama used herself. I think she'd be well satisfied that they're in a good place. And they can choose any tree, be absolutely safe and secure. Everything I hoped for has come to be.